Okay, welcome everybody to today's webinar on sheet generator from CTC. We'll be using the sim tools today. My name is Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Product Manager here at CTC. And today we're going to talk about sheet generator and view creation. And we're going to create some views automatically. We're going to put some profiles in there. We're not going to do pipe networks and profiles today. We'll do that next week at another one, but we'll do some editing in Sheet Generator. So as I said, it's part of the Sim project suite of tools. It's intended for the everyday Civil 3D user who's creating productions, design, drawings, and it will work all the way back to version Civil 3D version 2020. As we go along here, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the question panel and we will get to them at the end of our discussion. So Sheet Generator, part of the Sim project suite of tools. It's highlighted there in red. We have it broken out into several different modules. Plan view shapes we'll be working with today in the profile views. And why did we create it? Well, Civil 3D natively, you can create the views, but it's not that easy to edit. For all of us that have done them, you need to recreate things manually when things change. You might have to go back and forth. You might do some shortcutting, just not the most user-friendly. Well, it does work. It can work better, and that's what Sheet Generator will do for you. So it makes view frames and match lines that are somewhat inflexible too, which with Sheet Generator will show you how you can easily edit those. And you're limited to profile view controls as well. So Sheet Generator is more versatile. It eliminates a lot of the manual editing, the back and forth time. That saves you time. And the model space view shapes are linked to the sheets. So rerunning things when things do change is more seamless. It's fairly easy to set up. It works with current standards and uses block definitions. Again, a little more flexible than the native tool view shapes. So we can create plan and profiles, plan and plans, plan only, profile only, whatever you choose. And we can add and adjust the match lines automatically. They can be in plan and or profile. And your profile view station and elevation, you have a little more control over that. We also have better pipe network profile view projection. And the layout tabs and sheets get generated automatically, same as the native tools, with no proprietary objects. So we can share all that without fear of losing any of our data. So with that, some reason okay, let me back up here. I think maybe you weren't. Were you seeing the slides before? Okay, I don't know why I'm having issues with this. Are we seeing them now? Okay, so let me back up again. Let's go through this one more time. So we'll kind of start over here with sheet generator. What I mentioned before, it's a more powerful tool than native. Okay. So did we see these slides before? If anyone can say. So no, and we're seeing them now. Okay. Okay, I don't know, I thought I hit play. So sheet generator, like I said, part of the Sim project suite of tools intended for everyday users. Works back into version 2020. And it's part of the Sim project suite. And the native tools they create, but they're hard to edit things, need to recreate manually and do a lot of manipulating when things change. View frames and match lines are somewhat inflexible and limited profile view control. Sheet generator, more versatile, eliminates manual editing time. Model space view shapes are linked to the sheets, and it's fairly easy to set up, works with current standards that use AutoCAD block definitions. So we can create plan and profile, plan only, profile only. And we can add and adjust match lines automatically, and we can add them to plan and or profile, however you choose. And the profile view station and edit control is more flexible. We also have better pipe network projections when things change. Really no need to rerun things. Once you get things set up, everything will be taken care of. Which again, we will show you in our next webinar. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's first go through and talk about how do we do this natively. So you have an alignment, a drawing, you've done all your design work. So we come to the output tab and we start to create our view frames. So we get this dialog box, and I'm showing you this mainly to show you that the sheet generator tools are very similar to these with a few more additions, ways to manipulate things. So I'm just going to step through this pretty quickly with mostly the defaults. Most of you have probably already done this before. You can choose how you want to generate them, where you want your sheet sets to go when you're creating the sheets, that kind of thing. How you want them to look when they come out, whether you want them north to south along alignments, your view frame groups. This has to do with your sheet sets, layering, all the basic stuff here. And here's what we're talking about with the match lines. Now, we'll show you how we're more flexible with sheet generator in this. So we can put them on and snap to down to the nearest. We can do all kinds of stuff like this. Let's say 25 right here, just to do it. So next, profile views, how are those going to look? So let's click to create the view frames, and there we go. So then once they're on here, here's what you have, right? And you can't, no, you don't have a lot of editing power. You got this, and you can slide them up and down. But you've done that, and that's the way they stay. Or I mean, that's not the way they stay. If you rerun them, you don't have control over that again. So kind of clumsy how all this works. Sliding these around, trying to make them fit however you want them to look when they come out. Kind of clumsy. And again, the reason why I'm showing you this is simply to show you how similar Sheet Generator is to this. So right here, now we would have to go through and pick where do we want these to be, all kinds of stuff. And if we miss something, they go right back to where they were. And not only that, but now you've got multiples. So, and not the best, a little bit clumsy. So let's go with Sheet Generator. So here's another drawing, similar setup. You have alignment that you need to put into production. And one of the things that Sheet Generator you need is you need to have, I talked about these blocks right here. So we've got these blocks that are referenced in, just grab the one. They'll be referenced in Sheet Generator. So you do need these. And if you are trying to use Sheet Generator and you're struggling with it, go ahead and contact us and we'll be happy to share these blocks with you to use if you just want to load them into one of your own title sheets. But you do need to have these. So here's one for, this one's for the plan. This one's for the profile. They're lined up here for the viewporting. So everything will drop in when you actually create your sheets, which we'll be doing next week. So back to the model space. We've got our alignment here. So we need to create our sheets similar to what we just did. So they're set up here to kind of step through, kind of in order, synchronized how we should be creating these. So let's start with the plan view shapes because we need those first. And now you see a dialog box that's very similar to what you had. And again, all these settings, not necessarily the station because that's dependent on your alignment. All the alignments that are there are available in the drawing, are selectable right here. But some of these things will stay. For instance, you're always going to have this plan print block, which I just showed you. And now this can be on any layer, really. But we have this layer for it, which it is drawn on in the plan and profile tab down here. So those things like that will hold. So then we have also our typical, you've worked with our tools before, standard, it will hold our size and position. If you have multiple screens, you put it off on the next screen. It will always open there. However, you set it with Y's location. And we have some things here, helpful videos, which this one will be up shortly after the webinar today. You need help, support right here. This tells you what version, and you can also come here to request some things. And if you don't have the latest version, this will tell you we're on 24.0, and you can grab it right here. We also have the same thing in this pull down right here. So let's go ahead, and we want to create our layouts, our view shapes. So what we have here is, it's by default right away, it comes and it grabs each end of your alignment. So 50 to 89, 95. I'm going to cancel that to zoom in to show 50. I just put this quick label on here using another one of our tools, Label Genie, just to help better define where we are. So 8995.3, this doesn't have a decimal, but we saw in our plan view shapes that it took that as our endpoint. So let's open that back up. Okay, so here we are end to end. I'm just going to leave this for right now. And here, you could play around with the scaling here, which again, similar to native tools, you really kind of need to know what your limitations are, what you need to show, and it's dependent on your blocks. But you can have a few different ones, just like you can natively. So we can put it at 20 scale. It's how this one's set up right now. We'll go back and we'll show you some of the other things. And how do you want it to land in there? Centered, or do you want it offset one side or the other? Again, that's your printing area, which we will show more of next week. So then, like I said, again, here's our print area block. It's going to draw to get our shapes. And so right away here, it tells you for your match lines, where do we want to go? We said we had more control, and we do. So the max distance between them is 580, and that's based on our scaling. If I back up here and I change this to a 40 and hit next, now we've got 1160 in between. That's how much distance we can fit. Maybe we don't want it to go end to end. Maybe we want it to go in a different place. I'll set that back to 20, and I'll leave this here for right now. And round stations, we can round it to the nearest whatever, however we choose. I'm not sure if that will work at max. We'll try it. And then here we can avoid vertices. Well, I'm going to click that off right now, and we'll kind of show you what that does, what that looks like when it happens. And so here's our view shapes. So we have selections here too, which you really don't have natively. Do we want to clip the view shapes at the match lines so we don't show everything? Natively, it will put like a hatch, a hider on there for it. We have a choice. We can do either or. So right now, let's clip it at the match lines and clip it begin and end, and the view shape layer. The view shape layer is right here. I'm seeing that maybe you're not hearing me. Is everybody hearing me? Okay. Okay. So, and then drafting guides, and these are nothing more than to show you where you can snap to make things fit. And again, they can go on any layer you choose. You can create one. You get at anything you want here. I have it set up to go to a drafting guide layer. So we have everything set up. I'm just going to hit finish right here. And that's how it lays out initially. A lot like the native tools. kind of need some editing, probably not the best. Maybe we don't need it all. We can pick again how this fits in. This goes to the end. What we talked about this here is the plan print block. So that's the length of what's going to show when we create our sheets out here. And this is what's going to show. It's our drafting guide. This is our what's actually going to show in our drawing. So looks like we'd be missing some data right here. But that's easy enough to edit. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to show you how we can avoid some vertices. So at the end, sometimes you might have where these are hitting in places you don't want to hit, like this one right here, this PT, pretty tight right there. We can avoid that. Probably scooch it back to there. See that distance is roughly 6 to 7 feet. So that's a little close to the edge. Maybe we don't want that. Or maybe you've got one that's full of a lot of stuff, and so we can avoid those. So let's go back and reset this to avoid those. So everything okay here. Set to the next one. So here's our avoid vertices. I'm going to put the buffer at 50. And now we're going to change our match lines too. So instead of checking the max, we're going to check here. And let's try 550 between them. Round to the nearest, say the nearest 50 even. So we got a 50 of a buffer. And view shapes, we're going to leave that clipped. Actually, I'm going to unclip it this time to show you how that fills in. And notice when we did that, we don't have a bunch of extra view shapes again like we did with the native tools. They come in here, and now our view shape comes all the way out, so it's not clipping. So you'll see some overlapping here at our match lines. In most cases, you would probably want to clip that. So let's just go back again, show how easy this is to make all of our edits. So again, we're going to put the clip right here. Everything else looks like probably landed okay. And now we're back to relay it out very quickly right here. Again, this little piece, you can do some more adjusting if you want, however you want it to land. Maybe we don't need it all. Maybe we can start at, say, 5450 and go to, let's go to 8950, because really we're trying to show the piping here, not necessarily designed for the profile layout. So we can set this again. We'll go in there one more time. Try 5450. We'll end at 8950. Whoop, yep, that's right. Leave it at 20 scale. And again, like I said, if you want to change, see what you could get more max. Let's just try this. Set it to 40 real quick. Just because you can play around with it back and forth and not have to do a lot of deleting, editing. So now we get this. So it left this extra one here from the last time it ran. This one here, because we changed our station, so it hung on to it. No biggie, we can just erase that. because it's all just, whoops, it's all just native stuff. Get that out of there. This is the only really duplicating you would get when you run it. So you can see we started here and we changed that scale quite drastically. So let's come back in here. And I'm really just showing you this for the ease of tweaking things and making them work. Okay, so there we're laid out. Again, we got this little chunk down here. Did I not tell it? 50. So these are some of the things we can do. So where we wanted to avoid that PI, I think it was right there. Maybe it was this one. Either way, it jumped back to all the way to here to find a match. So we're matching at 50s and evens, looks like, since we set it that way. Probably pretty good for most cases, most layouts. So again, if we needed to edit some of these, how they end up here, again, we can just simply move these. Let's find one that, here, this one, kind of a little, we're missing some data. We got too much down here, not enough up here. So we can just go ahead and move this. So we can slide this to where it looks better. About there. And now we have these drafting guides that show us where things are going to go. So we can just simply come right here and we can stretch these. That guy out of the way. So again, just regular AutoCAD entities that we can snap to. Like so. And we can add vertices to these because it's just polylines if we need to add vertices. This particular one, we do not. And now as long as it lands within our view frame, that's what we'll see when we plot it, or print it, create our sheets. See if there's any other ones. I don't see any. Right off the bat, kind of maybe this one. No, because that's in our box. So kind of handy, shows you, you get a real good feel of what you're going to see without going back and forth, create it, check it, fix it, what have you. So in a nutshell, that's kind of our producing the layout views. So then stepping on, the next step would be to create our profile views. And we're going to ahead and open this, and this is just pulling right from Civil 3D, just exactly the same dialog box with a couple of small tweaks in there. So it'd be the same as if you came here and created profile views here. With a few exceptions. So again, come through here, all the same stuff. And here's our profile widths. How many are we going to make? And our match line, I believe, was 550. And this does need to match to have your profiles be able to line up with your view shapes. I'm going to put it back to, actually, let's make it 400 just to show you what can happen. And again, all of this stuff is whatever is in your drawing. Any styles that are there, everything like that, how you want these to show, profile styles, what they look like next. And then here's our pressure pipe network that we're going to skip over this for right now. Next week we'll show you networks to profiles. And so the rest of it is all your standard stuff, all the settings that are in your drawing, because it is Civil 3D. And we run through the steps, and now we just drop them in here just like this. And we set that match line to 400, I think. And so our view shapes, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that won't work. That won't work when we try to create our plan and profile sheets, because we'll have too many. So that's why I said that you need to match that. And we said it was 550. Which is right there. So we want it to match that. So we'll come back in here, go next. We'll change this to 550, and we'll create profile views. And I'm going to just stick them right next to the other bunch just to show you. And there. Now we've got the same width, length as our view blocks. So everything will line up. So that's really all I wanted to show you today. Can you, we'll get to some of these questions. I see a couple have rolled in. We'll get to them in a minute here. But that's what we wanted to show today, was just how flexible it is to create these view shapes and kind of the steps involved here. In next week's webinar, we'll push the profile, the pipe network, into here, and we'll create some sheets and whatnot. So that's all for this one. So again, it's part of the CTC Sim project suite. We're currently at version 24.0 with a new updates and things coming out shortly, we hope. If you don't have it, or if you have questions or ideas, you can go to ctcsoftware.com or contact your reseller. And with that, thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you in our next webinar.